Hey everyone, welcome back to the PropLinq AI podcast. I'm the founder, Stuart Quintal, and today we're heading to South Florida to chat with someone who's cracked the code on real estate brokerage and also built an impressive investment portfolio along the way. I'm joined by Larry Mastropieri, founder of one of the top performing boutique brokerages in the area and an active multifamily investor. Larry, good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Look, let's rewind a bit. You started out in mechanical and chemical engineering. It's sort of not your typical path to real estate. So, what sort of made you pivot into the property world?
Yeah, I graduated. I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree. Also got a master's degree. But when I graduated and I started working in the mechanical engineering field, I got my real estate license and a mortgage broker's license. And so I did that because I wanted to try to create passive income some way, right? And so I felt my idea was go buy a duplex or something to rent out and continue to do that if I can. And so with my licenses, I went out and I found a property to invest in, and then the rest is history. We continued to do that. I first started though by buying a duplex. I lived in one side, rented the other side out. When I did this was like kind of a newer thing. Today you'd call that like house hacking, right? So
Mhm.
so I started by doing that, and then I continued to buy another property and another property as I made enough money to do so. And fortunately, that was right after the Great Recession, so it was a good time to be doing this. Covered up a lot of my mistakes, right? Uh, Back then you could basically throw a rock and do a deal that makes sense today, right? So
Mhm.
fortunately, I learned a lot during the time that making mistakes was not as consequential as it is today. And so fast forward, I started acquiring more and more property. My mom was always a real estate broker growing up. She was one of the top 10 real estate agents in New Jersey. Now I'm in South Florida. She relocated to South Florida as well. And eventually we decided we were going to start our own little boutique brokerage. We did that in late 2018. Even though I had been a realtor for 8 years at that point, buying and investing in property, and helping others buy property as well. And so long story short, left General Electric, which is who I was working for at the time, and that was a dream job. But it made more sense and it felt right to go the entrepreneurial route. I was built for this. So
Yep.
yeah.
What was, I guess, like going from a safe corporate, um, job as such into full time real estate? What was sort of harder than expected when you did that transition?
Yeah. Um, there's so many differences. It's kind of interesting. But on the other hand, having, 8 to 10 years in the corporate world, understanding that moving through the ranks, having success there also influences without question how I built my business and how I operate within the business today. The differences, I would just say, first off, you really eat what you kill
Mhm.
in the business I'm in today, right? You need to sell real estate or broker real estate in order to make money. And so you're really focused on working to make that money. Whereas as an engineer, you don't really have that pressure as much. I was in a technical sales engineer role, so there was a little bit of that pressure, but for the most part, we had long-term contracts locked up, and occasionally we'd be negotiating for new contracts. But it's not like what it is today. This is fast-paced. Do a deal, and you're already thinking about the next one. So there's that without question. There's so many other things that you could just talk about the environment in which an engineer operates in versus what a salesperson operates in, um, when dealing with like humans on a daily basis, right? So like as an engineer, I'm dealing with highly technical people, PhDs on both ends of the spectrum, PhDs from the side I'm consulting on, which might look like NextEra Energy, big power
Mhm.
plants as an example, and then and then PhDs on my side, on my team, supporting and helping design systems. And so these are like highly technical, super smart individuals that are thinking very factually, because that's what you need to do in order to design these systems. Whereas I cross over into this very different world. Not to say that I'm not interacting with very smart people, but it's more emotional of a decision. You're buying a home that you're living in, you're selling a home that you're living in. It's very personal. And so that was a huge, huge lesson for me. In the real estate space, being a realtor, that really teaches you so much about who you are and how to interact with people to get things done. It makes you a very strong salesman. It's very different from the sales I was doing before. And so I think it's great. It educates you on how to live in this world. It educates you on so many things around that. So,
Yeah. Totally understand. Now, you mentioned you went into business with your mum. Are you still in business with your mum today,
so,
or
so
how's that
the
evolved?
Yeah, great question. So my mom works with me, or works for me.
Yep.
She's a huge asset to the team without question. She's got tons of experience. She's an incredibly hard worker, super sharp. And so she is on the team. We still work together to this day. Also, my sister is on the team as well.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a huge asset also. My family are workaholics. So we're all locked in. You got 3 minimum workaholics on the Mastropieri group without question. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Now, sort of stepping into like your current sort of market and strategy, and also positionings, you're juggling. And when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, you're juggling 2 worlds. You built the brokerage that's doing like over 125 million in annual sales volume, and you're actively growing a multi-family portfolio. So, I want to sort of step into some of the strategy bits. You've mentioned it's harder to find deals that make sense in South Florida right now. Like, how are you navigating that sort of transition, or the current market dynamics?
Yeah. I think the benefit for me is I don't have pressure to buy real estate if it doesn't make sense. And I think that's a very important factor when thinking about investing, right? So these other private equity firms, they've raised capital. They have some pressure to deploy that capital and start getting returns, and smaller firms like that. So for me, fortunately, I get to go out and look for stuff. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, we don't do it, right? And so unfortunately, over the past couple of years in South Florida, which is where most of our portfolio is, a lot of this stuff really hasn't worked super well. And so we've been patient. Now, as things are changing, the market, is cycled a little bit. Rates went up, prices kind of stayed, They've kind of come down now a little bit. And so now we're starting to see more opportunity. And I expect as, time goes on, we will see more opportunity. So it wasn't in 2020, we were in a buying frenzy. We were like doing deals left and right. It was great. And then as you crossed over into 2021 or later in 21 and then into 22, the fundamentals got shifted completely. And so we invest based on fundamentals. The math needs to work. I don't understand buying property just to buy. Like, I'm not trying to buy more work for myself, right? And so we've aggregated about 100 doors in the area, and we're ready to do more. In fact, we're looking at deals that are 100 doors. Like, we'll likely double or get close to doubling the portfolio on some of our next transactions. And so we've grown from doing like these duplexes to 4 units and 5 units and 8 units to recently like 18 units. And then now looking at 30s, 50s, 100 door assets. And we've expanded our footprint too. We're shopping all over Florida, and that's been a symptom of, hey, it's hard to find stuff, right? That works. So we continue to search. We're actively underwriting deals I had an underwriting call this morning, so I'm splitting my time a little bit, but most of my time is brokerage based, and like 5 to 10% of my time, probably 5% of my time is investment based.
Yeah. Yep.
But that swings when we find the right opportunity. So the opportunities come in, we're kind of like evaluating them, which might take 5% of my time to like kind of quickly understand what's happening, talking to the brokers that are offering these opportunities. And then as soon as something hits or makes sense, now all of a sudden I might be 50-50 of my time doing this to get that deal across the finish line. Then I go back into let's see what else shows up mode and go from there. So that's kind of how I'm juggling this now. It's not perfect. I initially got into this business to be a commercial agent and buy primarily for my investment portfolio, possibly raise funds. We haven't raised any funds. We've done it all, from mine and my business partner's pocket, and debt, and so that changed though. Like we thought we were going to do this. I thought I was going to spend my full time doing this, but the residential brokerage business just started to work, and so I started spending more time there. And now I'm like there, splitting my time, trying to aggregate more in the portfolio while building this business, this residential brokerage business.
Cool. So, like, speaking of the brokerage, then when from an ideal customer perspective, are you focused on buyers, sellers, or investors like yourself?
I work with everybody on that list without question, and so does my team. We do a lot of listings. We list a lot of property. We probably are 60% listings, maybe 65-70% listings, 30 to 35% buyers, and then those buyers could be investors. Those sellers could be investors. We work with a number of flippers, right? We probably list 1 to 2 properties a month with flippers that we work with. And we also help them buy stuff. Some of those flippers find the deals on their own. Sometimes they find them through us. It just depends. And then we eventually list them. We offer consulting services around that too for these guys, which is like, hey, you buy it, or before you buy it, you call me, whether it's the deal I'm working with you because I brought it to you, or you found it on your own. You call me, hey, I'm buying it for this. I think I can spend this. And what I think I could sell it for this. Do you agree, Larry? And it's like, okay, let's go through this. And so we spend a bit of time there. Then we go walk the property together, and then we talk about what you're going to do work-wise, what you should or shouldn't do. And once you get a rhythm with us, it's like, okay, now we got the rhythm. So there's a number of guys that are either new, and we're doing a lot of that, or guys that are seasoned with us that are just turning and burning these things, and they know exactly what type of light should go in said asset, et cetera, because we've kind of worked it out. And I have an in-depth knowledge of that because most of the assets that we've bought have been value add projects, right? And so we'll go in, we'll buy something that's not even occupied in some cases, and go ahead and spend $500,000 renovating, whether it's propping the building back up because it's falling down, or doing new construction like the property we're in right now. This was a new build. So we have a range of experience here, and we help all clients. I mean, that's fun. It's fun to do the investment thing. It's hard to find the opportunities. So.
Yep. Okay. Now we spoke a couple of weeks ago, and you're like, as part of you got the people, you got the business, from the brokerage side, you talked about cracking the code, through building long-term marketing assets. Can you give us a sense of what the machine looks like?
Oh, I gave you that speech, huh? Okay. Yeah, that's funny. So I forgot all about that. Yeah, I think we've been at this now from a brokerage perspective, like a real effort since probably 2020, and really more so since 2022 from a marketing perspective, really getting into it and understanding it. It took some time for me to really process the real estate business from flipping over, from engineering. And so we've concluded we have a specific philosophy or an opinion on how we think the business should be built. We've gone through this in detail with coaches, consultants. A lot of these guys, when we first started talking about this, they disagreed with the model. And the model was really focus on building an incredible marketing system
Mhm.
that helps our clients, but also helps us, right? So be able to market ourselves really good, but also be able to market our real estate listings really good. And if we can do that, the leads will come in, even though there's a huge upfront cost associated with this and a lot of, question around, can this even be done? The leads will come in, and then we'll be able to service these clients at an exceptional level. And so what happened is look, we started out on that mission, build marketing assets that are almost like digital real estate. It's like, okay,
Yep.
a website that you own, that you're working on building, is some form of digital real estate, right? So is like your Google business profile. So is your Zillow profile. So is like, you just go down the list of these things versus I run a PPC ad or a pay-per-click ad or some version of that, and lead comes in, I answer the phone, I do the deal, right? That's great, but that doesn't create residual impact, right? In the sense that once that click, you paid for the click is gone. The opportunity for someone to click next is not there unless you pay again, right? So we decided as we started processing this, we're like, oh, we need to do this. We need to take our real estate investing mindset and apply it to this. What can we do here that will just build residual income on some level, some version of that? It's not a perfect one-to-one example, but we've applied this. And so we've invested heavily in this, and still are, and still working through these things. And that has been successful. I would argue. Now we're starting to really feel the benefits of this. The customers are like, wow, this is great, when they see how well or how different we market properties, and the leads are flowing in that are supporting me and the team we've built. And we've been scaling the team because the leads have been coming at a rate that's greater than I could handle, or
Yep.
4 or 5 of me could handle. We have now 10 agents on the team and 10 support staff mixed between marketing and operations. So this has been effective, and that's kind of been the focus. Build brand, build digital assets that bring value long term, not just in the moment. Don't get me wrong, we do other things that bring that, just like you pay per click, we'll do it. It's fine. It's a part of the system, but the core focus is build a brand that's so big that the phone just rings.
Yep.
And we've had some success at that.
I mean, it sounds fantastic, and it's obviously working for you. You mentioned, so you've grown to 10 agents now. Like, what does growth look like from here? Are you looking to scale like even further from a geography perspective, or is it the headcount, or even from the types of services? Or
we've given a lot of thought to this. Obviously, what does scale look like? What is the right way to scale to continue to deliver exceptional service? Because I think that's a real thing. There's the generate the lead, and then there's the close the lead. And that closing of the lead, we have a certain standard for how a client should be treated, for the intelligence level of who is servicing that client on the team, or their abilities. And so that is complicated. Like that's not as easy as one may think it is. And this goes back to what I was saying. Engineer, oh, that looks easy, super simple. Join the team, like start building this business. Like, no, this is not easy. There is a lot to know, and there's a lot of growth, personal growth, that's required for someone to be a really good agent and a good salesperson, and really give an exceptional level of service to a client. So with that being said, scaling with that level of quality could be challenging, right? And so our focus, in my opinion, is sure, you can scale. There's teams that are like, hey, I'm in Florida, and Florida's a big state. That's a big state. It's kind of complicated. That's kind of like that's to say you're in Florida is like kind of crazy, because you're really in a specific area in Florida. And then, or I'm in this state too, and I'm adding these states. And so from my perspective, that waters down your service that you can give. And so we're focused on South Florida, maybe specifically Palm Beach County and Broward County. doing a really good job. There are plenty more deals to do here that we're not doing, right? I mean, we're 0.0001% and we're one of the biggest agents in the area. So we can just like move the needle a little bit and 10x what we do here. So my reaction is we probably continue to build our expertise here, be the best we can be, and deliver that exceptional service by just being so knowledgeable about the local market that like no one can compete with that. And so adding agents to the team is an option, and we will likely continue to do that. But we get inbound requests from agents, I don't know, twice a week at this point, and most of the time it's a no. You can't join the team. So we've gotten to a point where it's like, if you're exceptional, or if you're a fit culturally and skill set wise, then great. Maybe we'll work through this. But right now we are very happy with who we have on the team. And I'm focused on helping the agents that are on the team go from 2 million a month in sales volume to 5 million a month in sales volume. And that to me is more interesting than just adding random agents who have varying levels of skills that I can't help because I got too many people to work with and help out. And so the scale model looks like special forces unit, 10 or less, and everybody just works really hard, and it kind of applies that philosophy of exceptional level of service. So
nice. So staying like boutique, because that from the level of service and also level of access to you and the rest of the team, it's a good strategy. I want to sort of like shift into sort of the tech side now. Like, you built the lead engine that doesn't really rely on cold calls. That's not really like cold calls seem to be typical in real estate. You're not doing that. So what tools and platforms have been the most valuable to building that inbound engine? Like you mentioned,
a lot of teams an agent might, look at joining.
Yep.
They're going to have like a system around like, hey, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., you're on the phones calling expireds, doing all this, cold call stuff, right? And by the way, like that's another model in itself, and it's fine. That's not the model we chose to go with, because again, we focused on brand and digital marketing assets versus like just how many calls can you make. So when you join our team, it's not that way. You got to be on the phone, and we're tracking how long you're on the phone. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
You can't do real estate without meeting people and talking to people and spending real time on a phone with them. So that matters. And so we have a focus on that. But everybody that we're talking to has reached out to us on some level to talk about a real estate listing we have, talk about whatever they want to talk about related to real estate. And so how we built that and how that works is we started by looking at third-party solutions, as one might, right? Kind of like Elon Musk going to Russia to buy a rocket and then coming back and saying, no, we're not buying these rockets, right? This doesn't make any sense, right? We're going to build everything. So we kind of went that path, right? We're like, we went through this, we tried different solutions. They were cookie cutter. They delivered the same subpar results that everybody else in the market was getting. We were lost in the noise, didn't work. And as time went on, we just like, okay, we're going to in-house this, and we build this thing. And then we are like, okay, that one's not working at an exceptional level. Let's pull that down and let's work on that. So we continued to just do that. And as time went on, the marketing team grew. And now we have a team of 5 marketing people full-time in-house working on all these things, which is very unique. Most agents, teams, brokerages don't have 5 people working full-time as on the marketing side. So we have a relatively high overhead, but we're building for the future. We're building for growth here. So maybe that answers your question.
Yeah. From an operations perspective or tooling perspective, being an AI consultant myself, like what are you using from an AI perspective in your marketing and operations today?
Yeah, we've integrated versions or levels of AI into our marketing, into our operations. When it comes to communication in writing and or drafting video content or idea generation, creative creative work or video editing or photo editing, we're using AI substantially. The amount of AI subscriptions I pay for when it comes to the video side, let alone, Claude, X, ChatGPT, all of that is in heavy use within our team for different reasons, and for different applications. There's levels of it where I expect it gets better long term, and so we're like kind of like, okay, push the envelope. Yeah, that doesn't work good enough as a real human. Okay, pull it back. We understand it. We know what we can do with it. So if this improves 6 months from now, we're ready to use it. If it doesn't, we'll just continue the operation. I mean, long term, and I think most people probably agree with this. You probably agree with this. Curious to hear your opinion. We have probably 7 staff that are abroad, all over the world, all different locations, from Spain to Jamaica to South America to India to the Philippines, and they're all full time and they all work with us directly, and they're all paid directly from us. We're not using any third party services. I believe, and this is what I've communicated to all of them, it's like, hey guys, if you get really good at what you're doing and you don't just operate like a robot, you actually understand how to critique and edit, and your manager doesn't have to come behind you and act like your editor. If you get to that level of understanding, you will have a job probably in the next 2 years, right? But like, if you don't, the AI is going to replace you, right? The data entry model of like a Filipino is probably going away at some point with AI agents. And we've kind of experimented with some of this stuff. And it's more like, hey, if the Filipino worker or the abroad worker is good enough, they can watch the AI and make sure things are right. But, and then do 10 times more production because they're watching it instead of doing it all day, and they're watching this and this and this and this now instead of just doing this. And so I expect that we'll be at that point at some point, and it's just a matter of like, who's going to be good enough to stay on the team, and we're kind of focused on like, get that good. Anybody on our team is not like a data entry individual. They're not somebody that's like, a lot of people who hire abroad, they expect like brainless operation. Our team, and if you're going to be on our team, you're like high level of thinker. Like you have to have the ability to think outside the box. You're not just a robot. We have people that are abroad that are better real estate agents than people in the field, without question. And they're more capable. They understand the contracts inside and out, like super skilled individuals, and we'll pay them accordingly for that. And so within our team, somebody like that's abroad who might be making $5 an hour could do way more than that, right? And become way valuable. I think that's a unique opportunity, but it's really hard to find that gifted person. And it takes time to learn the business. And so long term, I think the AIs probably remove some of the weaker and just the really talented individuals that we use abroad are going to remain. And I'm excited for that for them too, because that creates a really cool job versus, the monotony of
just doing
data entry, right?
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. What's something that you, in your day-to-day operations, that you'd love to automate or love to sort of get fixed if you had a magic wand, but you haven't quite figured it out yet?
Yeah, we're actively we left this for last. The social media following piece. We're producing tons of content every day. We're growing, but we're not growing at these like leaps and bounds. So if I could wave a magic wand, we would know that we would crack the code on this, and we'd have a huge following. We've cracked the code a lot on Google local service ads, Google business profile, SEO. We kind of got this stuff nailed down. We even cracked the code on how to produce content very efficiently at like high levels very quickly. And the process on how to get it up and posted. But the thing we're lacking here is getting that large following fast enough. And there's a number of reasons why it matters to us. One is just for lead gen for sure, but also it's a credibility piece. It's so many things more than that. And so that would be one thing we're working on, which I've seen some of my counterparts do very well at, but they focused on it early, and we've let that go because we were so successful on the other things, the other digital assets. So again, back to this personal brand thing, it's a work in progress. We got a lot of work to do, but we're excited about it. Like there's room to scale to 10x this thing without question. So
Yeah. So, look, if I zoom out now, where do you see like the real estate brokerage and I guess the investment world heading in the next 5 years?
for us, I mean, we'll continue to scale as fast as we can on the investment portfolio, and that's just going to be market condition based mostly and opportunity based, and we'll continue to kind of push to find those opportunities. Long term, thousand doors, depending on in whatever market makes the most sense for us. That might look like South Florida. It might look like Jacksonville as an example, where we've looked at some other assets. And then for the real estate brokerage, long term, within the next couple years, the team begins to each individually produce $2 to $5 million per month, times 10, right? And that's a pretty big number. That's the biggest number in the country, probably, right? Without question. And we'll probably increase our average sale price over time there. And I think that's achievable within the next 2 years with the skill, with the team we have and what we're working on now. And 5 years, in 5 years, we might be happy. We might be happy there. We really might. This isn't like scale to the moon. We're going to build the biggest thing in the world. No, we're just going to deliver great service to our clients and really enjoy ourselves and create an environment that is fun to work in and somewhat balanced. And primarily that's because we're going to be so good at what we do that we can buy back that time a little bit. Right now though, we grind 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, 10 hours on Saturday, 5 hours on Sunday. That is the expectation when you join the team. That is what I do at a minimum. So to get to that holy land, that's what we're going to be doing. And we're probably going to be doing that for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Right. So,
I mean, if that, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, if the numbers stack up like that, that's, over $500 million in annual turnover over. So, that's huge. It's exciting times to sort of be in your business and as well as an opportunity for your team as well. Now, Larry, look, it's been a great chat. I know you got to jump off to other calls. So, where can people find out more about you or the business?
You could type in my name. It's right here at the bottom of the screen. I can see that, and it'll pop up. That's easy. You can find us at discoversouthflorida.com, and we have a number of different media handles, so I won't go through all of them. But if you look me up, Larry Mastropieri, you'll find most of them. So Discover South Florida is another media lifestyle brand that we run, which is pretty interesting. So if you're looking to get involved in South Florida one way or another, real estate investment, buy, sell, that's a valuable resource as well. So thanks for the time, man.
No problem. I'll chuck all those things in the show notes. But look, if you like this episode, follow PropLinq AI on Spotify or YouTube, and we've got more conversations with builders, brokers, and founders across the property world. Until next time, thanks for listening. And Larry, thanks for jumping on today.
Thanks, man.